All right, good morning. This is a Microsoft Word tutorial. The focus of this tutorial is creating tables. I'm going to start a new blank Microsoft Word document, and I'm going to begin by going to my Insert tab as I'm going to insert a table. I'm going to create a table that has 2 columns and 4 rows. To do that, I'm going to scroll over so that 2 columns are highlighted and 4 rows are highlighted. Once I'm content with what the table looks like, I'm going to left click my mouse and it will insert the table. Remember that tables are made up of rows and they're made up of columns. And each of these squares or rectangles is called a cell. In the first cell, in the top left, we're going to type location. Press tab on your keyboard. The tab will move the insertion point to the next cell in the row. Type cost. Press tab again. As you can see, it moves the insertion point to the first cell in the next row. Type the name of your favorite breakfast restaurant. Press tab and type the dollar amount that your favorite meal might cost there. Press tab again and type the name of your favorite lunch place. Press tab and go ahead and put the cost of what you think lunch there would cost. In the fourth row, input your favorite dinner restaurant. And what the average cost of your meal would be there. We're now going to press tab and you'll see that it adds a new row at the bottom of the table. The insertion point is located in the first cell in the new row. We're now going to add new cells to our table and going to include one more breakfast place, two lunch places, and one more dinner place. Go up to the standard toolbar and click the Save button. Save this to your folder on the desktop and name it Add Budget. In this next section, we're going to work on inserting and deleting rows. Click the Show Hide button on the Home tab to display formatting marks. Place the pointer in the margin to the left of your first dinner restaurant. Make sure that the pointer changes to an arrow, then click. Sorry. Make sure that the whole row is highlighted. Go up to Insert Once the row is highlighted, right-click on your mouse, scroll down to Insert, and click Insert Rows above. Type in the first cell of the newly inserted row, Westview Cafe. Press Tab and type $4. Select the row that has your second favorite lunch place in it. Right-click and select Delete Rows. Place the pointer over the top border of the location column until the pointer changes to an arrow pointing down. Then click. Right-click on the selected column and select Insert, Columns to the left. In the first cell at the top of the column, type the word Type. Click on the Location column. Right-click and insert Columns to the right. In this column, we're going to type Details. For each of the cells under Type, we're going to indicate whether this is a breakfast, lunch, or dinner restaurant. The Westview Cafe is going to be a breakfast restaurant. Under the Details column, you're going to indicate what you would typically order or the description of food that you would typically get if you went to this restaurant. At the Westview Cafe, you can make up something that sounds good to you. Once you are done with that portion of the assignment, go ahead and save your work. Next, we're going to modify our table rows and columns. This step deals with resizing rows and columns and aligning the information inside of the cells. Position the pointer over the border between the first type and second location columns until the pointer changes to something that looks like this. Then drag the border to approximately the 3/4 inch mark on the horizontal ruler. If you don't see the ruler, you can go to View, Ruler, and then you'll be able to see it no problem. Again, we want this border to be about at 3/4 of an inch. Position the pointer over the right border of the location column until the pointer changes to that same icon, and double click. Double clicking a column border automatically resizes the column to fit the text. Use that same tool to double click the right border of the details column. You'll see the widths of the details and cost columns are adjusted when you do that for each one. Look at the top of the Microsoft at the top of Microsoft Word and find the Table Tools Layout tab. To do that, you're going to need to select your table and go up to Table Tools Layout. Click it so that you get all of the table options. In the Table Tools Layout tab, in the Cell Size section, select Distribute Rows Evenly. So I can go to Distribute Rows, and if I need to, I can go down to my table properties and make sure it's distributed evenly. Again, you can verify that all of your work is distributed evenly by right-clicking and scrolling down to Distribute Rows Evenly. Then deselect the table. Click in the Details column then again go back up to the Table Properties in the Table Tools Layout tab and click the Column tab. In the Table Properties dialog box. So I'm going to go to Table Properties, I'm going to go to Column, and where it says Preferred Width, I'm going to change this to 3 inches. Once you have that, you're going to select OK. Select everything inside the table. Again, go back to the Table Tools Layout tab and click on the left center, Align Center Left button. Take a moment to save your changes. Now we're going to take a moment to sort our table data. Place your insertion point anywhere on the table. Click the Table Tools Layout tab and find Sort. We're going to sort our column first by type. If it doesn't show up here, then you can click on My List Has a Header Row. First, we're going to sort by type. Then by cost. And make sure that we sort the type by descending and the cost by ascending. Click OK. You can see that now we've actually organized our table, lunch, dinner, and breakfast, and it is organized by cost, with the least expensive restaurant for lunch, dinner, and breakfast being at the top, and the most expensive restaurant for lunch, dinner, and breakfast being at the bottom. What about splitting and merging cells? This step focuses on merging two or more cells into one, or splitting a cell into more than one cell. For example, select the two dinner cells in the first column of the table. Right-click and select Merge Cells. We can deselect the cells and delete one of the dinner text options. Select the select the two lunch cells, and do the same thing. We will right-click, merge cells, and delete one of those options. Finally, take your three breakfast options, right-click, select merge cells, and delete all but one of the breakfast text options. Click somewhere in the last row. Click Insert below. A row is added to the bottom of the table. Select the first three cells in the new last row of the table. Keep in mind the row has 4 cells in it. Right-click and select Merge Cells. Then deselect the cell. Click in that first cell in the last row, and then click the Split Cells button on the Table Tools Layout tab. So again, I'm going to click on the Table Tools Layout tab and go to the Split Cells button. Type 1 in the number of columns and type 3 in the number of rows. Select OK. Click in the last cell of the cost column and do the same thing. Again, go to Split Cells and choose 1 column, 3 rows. Now we're going to perform a calculation in this table. This will introduce you to writing formulas in cells to perform certain calculations. Click in the first blank cell in column 1. Type total cost. Press Tab. Click the Formula button in the Data section of the Tables Layout tab. Locate your most expensive breakfast and change, This is going to auto-sum all of the numbers above this. Click OK, and it will add that all up for you. Locate the most expensive breakfast and change it to $2 more than it currently is. I'll change mine from $15 to $17. If I go back to this cell and I right-click and say Update Field, it will update the new amount of money that's spent on me by food. Go below the total cost option and type the word budgeted. Press Tab. Type $40. Type difference and then press Tab. Click the Formula button again, and then this time what we want to do is we want to take equals B9 minus B10. Click OK to save your changes. You can see that it's given us a difference of $68.46. I knew that this was B9 minus B10 because it's the second column over in this table, A and B, and it's the 9th and 10th rows down that I wanted to calculate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I took 108.46 and I subtracted 40, and that gave me the difference. Now we're going to use the table auto format tools. This is to adjust the look of your table using the Design section of the Tools tab. Highlight your table and go to the Table Tools Design tab. You'll see all of these different options for your table. Click on this drop-down menu. Select the Modify Table Style option. Click on the Table List 7 style. With the insertion point in the table, click the Modify Table Style button. Locate the Styles Based On section and scroll down the list of table styles and click Table Professional. Then click OK. Select the Type column. Click the Center button. You can also find this in your Home tab. Select the Cost column and click the Align Right button. Select the last 3 rows of the table and also click the Right Align button. Then make sure that this text is bold. Select the first row of the table. Select the Center button. Click the Font Size list arrow and change your font size to 16 and make sure it's selected as bold. Save your changes. Now we're going to create a custom format for our table. Select the type and location cells in the first row. Right-click and select Merge Cells. Change this to say Food Location. Select the breakfast, lunch, and dinner cells in the first column. Click the Change Text Direction button, or right-click and scroll down to Text Direction. We want to change our text 270 degrees, to rotate 270 degrees to look like this, and select OK. Position the pointer over the right border of the dinner cell until you get this icon, and drag the border to approximately the 1/4 inch mark. Place the insertion point in the lunch cell. Select the Design tab on the Table Tools, and then click the Shading Color list arrow. Click Gold on the palette. Click in the breakfast cell, and click Aqua. Click the dinner cell, and choose red. Change the dinner cell to orange. Drag to select the 9 white cells in the lunch rows. Choose all of the cells in the lunch rows and change the shading to a very light yellow. In the dinner rows, we're going to change this shading to tan. And for the breakfast, we're going to change our shading to a light turquoise. Select the last 3 rows of the table. Click the Border List arrow on the Tables and Borders tab, or on the Home tab. Click on the No Border button. Select the Total Cost row. Click the Border List arrow and click the top border only. Click the $40 cell and click Bottom Border only. Your table should look essentially like this. There's one last thing we want to do. We want to make sure that everything in the cost column is set up to represent a dollar amount. To do that, we're going to go to Insert,